All right, all right. Welcome in. This is the Santos Show. We have a lot to talk about. Now, this is week 2 that we just watched and witnessed, and wow. My expectations were pretty much like almost spot on. Besides the Packers and Falcons game, honestly thought the Packers were going to win that game. A couple other games, the Seahawks and Lions, a lot of people had the Seahawks winning that game, but I didn't see that happening. I went with the Lions 100%. And to pull off that upset, that was incredible. The Seahawks looked legit. They looked like a playoff team from last year that was missing week 1. Now, week 2, they look like they really clutched up, and look at them go. They won against the Lions. That's incredible. But the first things first, I want to go over was that Thursday night game, the Eagles. Um, wow. Can Jalen Hurts throw the ball anymore? Besides that throw from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith in the beginning, it looked like nothing was going on. They couldn't put anything together. What was going on? Besides Swift and their running game, they look like a subpar team. They didn't look that great. Jalen Hurts looked like he struggled just like in week 1. They can run the ball. Don't get me wrong. They ran the ball. DeAndre Swift, look at that monster go. Man, if you guys have him in fantasy, good for you guys because that's a great pickup. But man, can the Vikings not catch a break? What is this? 0-2? That's a playoff team. We're talking about a high caliber offensive team that just cannot catch a break. Just unlucky after unlucky. Kirk Cousins, 4 touchdowns. Still can't win the game. I just don't understand. Look at the stats here. We have Swift getting 28 rushes for 175 yards, his career high, by the way, and getting a touchdown. Wow. I did not see that coming. I thought Jalen Hurts was going to throw the ball like crazy. A.J. Brown was going to pop off. Devontae Smith was going to pop off. But now that I'm looking at the stats, it looks like Eagles might be favoring a run game this year. They're not too high on Jalen Hurts. He also isn't running the ball as much as he was last year. But overall, the Eagles shouldn't be worried. They have a top-tier defense. They're still 1-2 in my rankings, 1-2. The only team I have ranked ahead of the Eagles this year so far that what I've seen is the 49ers, and that's should be rank 1 for everyone. If you guys watch football, you guys should understand that the 49ers are the best team in football right now, overall. Second game I want to talk about is the Packers and Falcons. Now, the Falcons last year were trash. They didn't really have much, but this year it looks like with the addition of Bijan and Algier, it looks like they're going to be running the ball a lot. And we could see that through the first 2 games. That's all they know how to do is run the ball. Constantly just run the ball. And that looks like that's what's going to be the game plan moving forward for them. Bijan is listen, I didn't have faith in this kid. He's the real deal. Look at this guy work. He's getting like 18 to 20 touches a game. And he's the real deal. He's averaging, I believe, around like 6-7 yards a carry. That's nice, you know? And against this Packers team that got rid of Aaron Rodgers this offseason, didn't look like they had a lot of faith coming into this year. A lot of people had them just about average. Didn't really have them going off like this in any of the games. Jordan Love looks incredible. He could throw the ball. He could run the ball. He looks like that athlete that they're moving forward with as quarterback in the future. He looks like that guy that's going to be with them in the long term. And we see this past game, and he ran the ball correctly. He had no turnovers. He can throw the ball. And the crazy thing is, Watson wasn't even in the game. nor was Aaron Jones, and they still almost won this game. It's just incredible what the Packers are really doing without, what they had. Aaron Rodgers going from Aaron Rodgers to a rookie quarterback is a crazy drop off, but it doesn't even look like it's that big of a drop off when we're looking at this first 2 weeks games. The Packers fans should be really, really happy about what they've been seeing with this team, and they should be really happy moving forward because I believe they're looking like a 9-win team. For the Falcons, they're 2-0. I don't understand. The NFC South right now is 3 teams that are 2-0 and 1 team that is 1-1 in the Carolina Panthers. I don't know what's going on, but the Falcons are looking really good. Their running game is elite. I would say like top 4, top 5 in the NFL in running, and that's their game plan moving forward. Uh, wow. The Packers without Aaron Jones, they look lost with AJ Dillon. AJ Dillon didn't really get much on the field this past week. Didn't really get much going. Jordan Love got more rushing yards, I believe, and that's crazy. I know a lot of people picked up AJ Dillon in their fantasy lineups. They thought he was going to pop off because, um, Aaron Jones was out this past week. So with a hamstring injury, I thought, and many other people thought that he was going to go off. He was going to average around like 5, 6 yards per carry, and he was going to get like 30 points in fantasy, 20 to 30 points in fantasy, be reliable, get some touchdowns. What we saw is about 1 to 2 yards a carry and about 6.8 to 7 points in fantasy. That was a terrible display, and it shows. And that's partly the reason why they lost this game. If they get the running game going, I believe they slow down the pace of the game, and they have control over the game because he can still throw the ball second, third down and get some first downs, run the ball, burn that clock, and I believe they can still win this game. But um, they lost. It's not the end of the world, and they should be getting Watson back, and they should be getting you know some of these guys back that are going to make them that elite team that I look forward to seeing in the playoffs with their rookie quarterback. All right, next up we got the Colts and the Texans. Nothing really much to talk about in this one. The Texans, besides Nico Collins, there's really nothing much going for them. Nico Collins is a really elite wide receiver for them, but they're in rebuild mode. CJ Stroud really doesn't have an offensive line to work with. He looks like he's running for his life every play. Um, Without that O line, you really can't see the potential that he has to be that quarterback that they drafted him to be. And then the Colts, they go through that injury with Anthony Richardson. And Richardson, man, he is a running quarterback. What? He cannot throw the ball. So in fantasy, that is good news. But for the Colts, it doesn't look like they can trust him with that long ball threat. So it looks like most defenses are going to be pressing up on him, making sure he can't scramble and run for yards. If they take away that running game from the Colts, it looks like the Colts have no chance. And that's just my opinion. That's not what I want for the Colts, but that's just my opinion of what's going to happen in the future. Now they got some tape on the guy. They can see that he can't throw the ball. Unless it's a little screen pass or a little short, quick throw, he's not really throwing the ball deep. I don't think they have that much faith into him. And now he has that concussion. He's in that concussion protocol because just that reason. They don't have faith that he can throw the ball. So they want him to run and have that ability to run the ball, get first downs, the Jalen Hurts kind of guy, but Jalen Hurts can throw the ball besides the season, of course. He can throw the ball. And it looks like Anthony Richardson just needs a little bit more practice, needs a little bit more help on that end. That's all I got for that game. Now we got the Seahawks and the Lions. This total was 37-31, and it went overtime. This was the game to watch in a lot of people's eyes. And honestly, in my eye, I didn't see the Seahawks winning this. I saw the Lions having this the entire game. The fact that the Seahawks won this means that Geno Smith is good. It's got to be good. Got to have offense to beat the Lions. The Lions are going to score points on you. The problem is about the Lions is that they can't defend. That's where their struggles are, is their defense. Can their defense stop, other NFL teams from scoring on them? Because right now we're looking at two teams that already put up many touchdowns on them and they just can't stop it. Um, if we're looking at the Chiefs, if they had Kelsey, I think the Chiefs would have won that game against the Lions. I really do. I really, really do. We can be talking about an 0-2 Lions team right now, and that is partly because of their defense. Remember, like, those receivers didn't catch those balls week one, but if Kelsey was there, it relieved some of the pressure for the other offensive pieces to get some catches, which happened. But the Lions defense, man, they need to really focus on that and work on that in practices coming up, because if these teams continue to score that much, you're looking at a coin flip for the rest of the season on their games. But I will say their offense looks incredible. Their offense is elite. Their running game solid. It's okay. They got rid of Swift last season. I wish they would have kept him, but they didn't. But you know, uh, the running game is okay. It's not amazing. Jahmyr Gibbs, he doesn't get any touches now that what was his name? Now that Montgomery's out with an injury, it looks like Gibbs is going to be their starting running back. The problem is the coach drafted this guy with intention to play him, but we haven't seen the amount of production out of Gibbs yet to really say much about their running game. I know a lot of people are high on Gibbs, but he hasn't really performed yet, and that's partly because the coach hasn't given him a chance, just because of how hot Jared Goff's been with Amon-Ra and those receivers over there, Reynolds. Those guys have been amazing for them. They've been catching these crazy passes, getting downfield, getting touchdowns without their running game. So Montgomery's been that grit guy. He's been getting the dirty yards for them, the first downs, the 3rd and 2, the 3rd and 3 kind of plays. And then Gibbs has been this guy where he's been put on the pass on the passing block, just running out and trying to catch a pass, these short passes. And the problem with that is that he's not really getting reps as a running back. So for him to replace Montgomery is going to be a challenge for them. I'm looking forward to it. We'll see what happens this next week. But as of right now, it looks like just their passing game is elite and their defense and their running game needs some help. The Seahawks look great, though. DK Metcalf, other than him kind of getting injured before halftime and then coming back in, he didn't look like he had that great of a start this season so far. The first 2 games we've seen, not many targets, but then again, he draws a lot of attention. Tyler Lockett's been getting tons and tons of reps and attention. He's been getting all the balls thrown his way, and especially during the red zone plays. When I feel like every single time they're in the red zone, it's going Lockett or they're running the ball, and we see that. What else I got here for this game? One thing I do want to say about the Lions, I do believe that they win that game if they win the toss. It's too close to say, but there's such an offensive threat that you would believe that they win that game if they win the toss. Um, they didn't win the toss, and you saw how that one played out. But there's such an offensive threat. Everyone can see it. Any football fan can see what they've been doing putting up these crazy points. Um, they're a high scoring team, and you really need an elite, backfield in order to stop them. Jared Goff's been putting the ball exactly where you want to put it. He looks extremely accurate. Looks like that QB1 that they can really have, in the next 5 years that he's gonna be that guy for them. Really, they just need to work on that defense in the running game, like I said. But I believe that will come like later on the season. They'll figure it out. The next game I got is a funny game that I thought was gonna be the complete opposite way, and let me tell you why. Um, First of all, we're talking about the Titans and the Chargers. Now the game was called 27-24. Titans win this one. That's incredible. The Chargers are 0-2. We're talking about a playoff team here last year that went deep into the playoffs, and a lot of people thought that they had Super Bowl aspirations. And when we're looking at the teams that they played so far, Miami and now the Titans, we look at Miami and we think, okay, well, Tua's healthy. They have Tyreek Hill, which pretty much beat them by himself. But the problem with the Chargers is, like I said, it's their defense. Their defense can't stop anyone. When Ryan Tannehill comes out the gate week one looking like borderline the worst QB in the NFL, doesn't even deserve that position. Then comes week two and absolutely wipes the Chargers, tears them apart. It just makes the Chargers defense look that worse. If you watch that first game coming out of the season, the Titans, Ryan Tannehill did not he did not look good. He looked terrible, like interceptions. This week too, he comes out and no takeaways, throws touchdowns. Derrick Henry plays well. It's crazy to see this because the Titans look like they wanted to rebuild. Derrick Henry's turning 29. We don't know what that looks like after this offseason. Getting rid of Derrick Henry, he's going to either want out or he's going to retire. I don't know what this team's going to do moving forward, but the fact that they beat the Chargers is probably one of the best wins they're going to have this season. I don't think that's too far of a stretch to say. It was a close game. This game went into overtime as well. Titans win the flip, and look at that, they end up winning the game. For the Chargers, I will say that Kelly is starting for them at running back. We haven't really seen much of what Kelly has been doing this entire year because Eckler has been that guy for them. And it's really upsetting to say that we don't know when Eckler's coming back. And without Eckler, this offense looks like it might be struggling even more than I expect. I expected this offense to be elite without injury, of course. With injury, especially to their main guy, Eckler, that's been doing all the dirty work for them for the past couple years, honestly, especially in the red zone area. It looks like their coaching has become a little bit lost of what their goals should be. And I do believe it's coaching. I don't believe that it is based on, unfortunate loss. This happened week one. This happened week two. We lost those games, but it was a very close game, very competitive. No, like they didn't understand that there's a couple of things they need to work on, especially with their defense. I believe it starts there. And then the second thing they need to work on is, of course, working on their running game, getting that clock burned. They can do that. They can win games. It doesn't matter if Eckler's there or not. If they run the ball with Kelly towards the end, they can win games. The next game I got is the Raiders and Bills. The Raiders only scored 10 points. the Bills scored 38. I was talking so much smack about the Bills. I have to apologize. I was talking so much smack about the Bills. I apologize to all you viewers out there that, you know, I upset or they love Josh Allen or, they love the Bills. But listen, there's a reason I said what I said. The problem with the Bills and Josh Allen is when it comes, it usually is, it usually happens if they're behind in points. If they're coming from behind, Josh Allen makes these ridiculous throws. He tries to do it all like he's Superman, puts himself on the line constantly. And I watch these games, and yes, it's very exciting to watch, but also very dangerous. I see Josh Allen taking these crazy hits, throwing these crazy passes, and I just wonder, like, how is this team gonna like win games in the playoffs with inconsistent games and constant errors? Um, But I mean, huge bounce back game. They were versing the Raiders. I really didn't expect them to lose against the Raiders, but 38 points after that 4 takeaway first game. Congrats. Congrats Bills fans and congrats Josh Allen. You guys bounced back after week 1. But I'm still not high on you guys, and I won't be. And I apologize, but I won't be high on the Bills until like I see progress in multiple games where Josh Allen's consistent. He's not putting his body on the line as much. He's throwing better balls. He's thinking more about the coverage. He's putting the balls where only his wide receivers can reach them, not where it's a 50-50 coin flip. These risky throws that he loves to throw. And then on the other side, we're talking about the Raiders now. The problem with the Raiders, why can they not run the ball? What is this problem with Josh Jacobs and the Raiders? -2 yards. -2 yards. Josh Jacobs has only been able to catch the ball that looks like this entire year. Only been able to catch the ball, not been able to run. And we see this with this game. I don't think the Raiders are out of the conversation to make playoffs. You still have a semi-elite quarterback. I think Jimmy G is still he's still a good quarterback. He cannot run the ball, and it looks like neither can Jacobs. So the problem with the Raiders right now is they need to figure out how they can protect Jimmy G for more passes to get them yards, or they need to figure out how they're going to be able to make the ball get ran for more yards. We haven't seen it so far. These last 2 games, Josh Jacobs hasn't really done much at all. That's pretty sad, man. I don't know really much to say about that one. The Raiders just need some help on the offensive side of the board. Definitely with line. Their O-line is where they need to start. They need to draw up some plays and practice that consistently. And if they could do that, I see them winning games in the future. But as of right now, they looking like a 3rd, 4th slot in that division. Next game, we got the Chiefs and the Jags. The Jags have Calvin Ridley. Ridley looks amazing, looks phenomenal, looks like that wide receiver 1 that they've been looking for forever. Now, here's the problem with the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence, everyone said with his 3rd year being there, he was going to be that guy. He was going to be on that Mount Rushmore with Jalen Hurts. He was going to be on that Mount Rushmore with Patrick Mahomes. He was going to be on that Mount Rushmore with Josh Allen, all these elite quarterbacks, but the first 2 weeks hasn't shown shit. Hasn't shown nothing. He could show that he could throw the ball to Ridley, but although all you have to really do with Ridley is throw the ball up. But lots of indecisive plays, not running the ball enough, and that's a question mark on their coach. I don't understand why they aren't running the ball as much. ETN not really getting much going on the ground, which a lot of people had him favored as top 5 running back this year coming up. That guy that's going to get them first downs, the guy that's going to get them yards, those grit yards, but hasn't really seen much this year. Only seen Ridley go off and maybe Christian Kirk a little bit. Hasn't really done much. Um, but I believe it starts with the coaching. It starts giving him more reps. And I honestly thought that this team was going to be a run first mentality, but it looks like it's going to be the opposite way. They look like they're going to be really trusting Ridley with a lot of touches and a lot of plays. Um, Lawrence doesn't really run the ball as much as he did last year so far in these first 2 games, but I do believe this team will get it together and they will end up being a playoff team. They do need to incorporate more running and they need to incorporate more um, just protecting the football. Just protect the football, don't give takeaways, and run the ball. If they could do that, I see them winning the game. Attack that ground and pound and really slow down the pace of the game. If they can really do that, they can win games. And I see this with a theme with all of the games so far. When we're looking at all the teams that have won these last 2 games or just won one of them, usually they incorporated a lot of running. That's all I got for that one. The Chiefs did play Kelsey, but Kelsey really didn't do much. He looked like he was still that guy that was just trying to get that pressure off of Patrick Mahomes, trying to free up some wide receivers, relieve some of that pressure off of them as well. And it looked like it worked out for him. They still struggled a bit. Kelsey did get a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes looked okay. He didn't look like the elite quarterback that he usually is, but he looked okay. He looked solid. He did have what was it? 2 interceptions now through 2 games. I know he's not happy about it, but their team won, so I still view them as a high favorite to be in the playoffs, deep in the playoffs. They'll get it together. It's the Chiefs. They have Andy Reid. They look like a solid team, and I don't see that going anywhere in the near future, probably around 3 years. They're still going to be very competitive. Chiefs looking solid. The Jags need to work. They need to get some practice reps in. Next game I got is the Ravens and the Bengals. Man, what is going on with the Bengals? Just seems miserable to watch them, actually. Like, without the 2 throws that went to T. Higgins, without, and I'm gonna be honest here, without like some of the crazy throws and some of the crazy plays that the coach came out with and some of the scrambling, this game probably could have got out of hand. T. Higgins made a crazy catch as well in this game, but Burrow looks kind of unhealthy. He doesn't look like he's 100%. He looks about 60%. Um, Chase is ineffective right now, just not getting any targets. Looks sloppy, looks lazy. I was looking at some of his route running, and it looks like he's not even trying. Um, Let me elaborate. There was a play where he went into the end zone, and it was kind of like a in and out route, in and out. um, where he just went up to the to to the line of scrimmage, ran about 5 to 10 yards, probably around like 8, made it inside the end zone, then ran out to catch a ball right in front of the pylon. And the ball was thrown his way, but when he turned and saw the ball, he he knew it was outside of his range, but he didn't even try to like reach and try to grab it. He like legit just didn't care, just automatically said, "Oh, oops, my bad. I'm not gonna catch this ball." And it's pretty upsetting to watch as a Bengals fan. Um, any Bengals fans out there, like you have to be a little bit upset of what's going on with the Bengals, especially because you versed two division rivals now and you lost, and now you're 0-2 in the division. Um, that's not something that you want to start out. I get it. The last 2 years, you guys have started just the same, but the problem is with this year is Burrow's not 100%. Chase hasn't shown really anything. Um, Mixon hasn't really shown anything. The only person who has shown anything so far is Higgins, and Higgins didn't show anything week 1. So everyone on the Bengals right now is getting a slow start, and it starts with their coaching. I think their mentality needs to be a little bit more. They need to come at it with a little bit more urgency. Um, Definitely a lot more urgency to win and to be competitive, because if not, this season could slip away. Um, Mark Andrews gets his first touchdown this year, and then Dobbins and OBJ is injured. Mark Andrews is going to be getting a ton of touches from here on out. OBJ is out. Dobbins is out. Mark Andrews is still that guy. He's still proven that he can get it done. He can catch the ball. He can get those yards for you if you need them. He's still that reliable guy. Mark Andrews looks like he might end up being tight end 1 or 2 this year. Now that these players have gotten injured, he looks like he's going to be that guy moving forward for them. And Lamar is going to be running more now that those guys are out as well. I believe they were trying to make him into more of a passer, more of a pocket passer. But now you saw this last game, he was kind of scrambling a little bit, just like the first game, but not really running. I see that being a change coming up in week 3. I see him running. I see Mark Andrews getting 1 to 2 touchdowns, probably a game moving forward. But yeah, the Bengals, man, the struggles have continued. We'll see how long it continues for. But right now, it looks pretty upsetting for them. All right, next game, my favorite. I'm a BUCS fan. You guys that have watched the stream before have heard me or Sammy talk about it. We're both BUCS fans. The BUCS are 2-0. I get it. You guys say, "Oh, it's just the Bears. The Bears are a terrible team." Well, listen up. We have Baker Mayfield. Who expected Baker Mayfield and the BUCS to go 2-0? I don't care if it's the Bears. I don't care who we verse. To go 2-0 with a guy who people had being like the worst quarterback that we could have gotten. People have said, "Oh, well, why didn't you guys go out and get Colin Kaepernick? Why didn't you guys go out and get Cam Newton? Why didn't you guys go out and get Aaron Rodgers or some of these other guys that, they were available this offseason?" Well, this offseason was a race to see who was starting, and we didn't figure it out until week 1. Who was starting quarterback for the Buccaneers, Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield? And then they announced Baker Mayfield, and then he goes out and has a solid game 1, kind of scary, slow start, half the game, and then the other half he pops off. Hang on, I got Sammy on the line. What's up?
Yo, you doing the podcast?
I am live streaming right now.
Nice.
Anything you want to say?
Outside, did you already touch on the running backs?
I'm pretty much going through all the games right now. I'm going through all the games right now. I'm gonna hit all of that later on.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So honestly, I didn't get to watch too much. Unfortunately, I had like no signal where I was staying, so I didn't even really get to watch anything. Unfortunately.
Well, do you want to say hello?
As soon as I get.
Would you like to say hello to the stream, and would you like to say anything about some of the games? Like, I know you didn't get to watch any, but some of the final scores, would you like to talk about any of that?
Well, honestly, you're gonna have to brush me up on the scores, but hey, stream, what's going on? It's Sammy. Sorry I'm not able to be there right now, but you know, I'm on vacation right now. I'm just happy I can be on the phone chatting with you guys, because I don't know if I'll drop signal out here.
All right. But yeah, stream. The next game that I was going to talk about was the Bears and the BUCS. Sammy didn't really get to watch that game. The BUCS have a final score of 27. The Bears had a final score of 17.
17, yep. We beat them by 10 points.
Yep. What I was talking about, Sammy, was how Baker looks super solid coming in these two games, and how everyone had it out for us, saying that we were going to be last in the division. We're going to be that trash team that doesn't even make the playoffs this year because we have Baker Mayfield and because Tom Brady has left us. Well, I want to say that it is the complete opposite. This team looks really solid. We look very solid moving forward, and our team looks very hyped for this season. We look like a winning team. We really look like a winning team. We have solid defense. Rashad White went off as a running back this last game. Completely ran through these Bears. Baker Mayfield, no takeaways, no interceptions, ran the ball for first downs, threw the ball to Mike Evans perfectly. Mike Evans getting a touchdown again. He's getting phenomenal targets. Mike Evans has that connection with him. Chris Godwin is getting a little bit of connection. We would like to see that increase a little bit more, to be honest. But as of right now, it looks like Mike Evans is that guy for Baker Mayfield. And it looks like the BUCS have gotten something going moving forward.
A lot of people have been saying that we're Baker fans, that he never had the franchise to really show off his skills, and it's kind of showing. I mean, you're seeing the numbers he's putting up now, and he's that connection that he has with Evans.
Yeah. For the Bears. I want to say the Bears, their problem, it starts with their coaching and ends with Justin Fields. Their coaching.
Yeah, he's going to take a lot of the heavy hitting.
The reason why the Bears had those games last year that they won and they look like that team that everyone was kind of interested in seeing how it played out last year is because Justin Fields ran the ball. We look at this year in the first two games, Justin Fields has ran less than Daniel Jones, than Josh Allen, than probably even Patrick Mahomes. He's not running the ball at all. It looks like the coaches have decided on not letting him run the ball.
they don't want him injured. So they want to keep him healthy. But now this is the big cost that's happening when you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I will say that they did get some of these receivers like DJ Moore from the Panthers, and the reason why they got him is so they can become that team that has a deep ball threat, also has that wide receiver depth that a quarterback needs to like succeed in the passing game. The problem is that Justin Fields doesn't really have an O-line to work with to have that time to throw the ball. When he goes against some of these top defenses, he looks like he scrambles and throws the ball away more than he would in the past run the ball as soon as he scrambles. He would scramble in the past and run the ball for 10, 15, 30, 40, 50 yards, sometimes for a touchdown. So we have yet to see that this year, and I believe that's going to take a little turn here coming on week 3 moving forward. Next game I want to talk about is the 49ers and the Rams.
You're going to have to fill me in on this one.
The 49ers have scored 30 points. The Rams, 23. Now, this is the second game. This is the second game in a row, and this is stream. This is why. This is why, stream. I told you guys in the beginning of the podcast that the 49ers are the best team in the league right now. And the reason why I'm saying this is because they have the best position players probably in the league. Defensively and offensively. When we look at offense, they can go to so many guys that are reliable, that can catch the ball, and Brock Purdy doesn't even have to do much to get the ball going. Like, he can just either decide to scramble a little bit. Debo's going to be right there, probably running a inside route. He can flick the ball to him real quick, and boom. You know, that Debo is that guy that can make plays while he has the ball after the catch. Christian McCaffrey can pick it up, get you. He's averaging about like 6-7 yards a carry, Christian McCaffrey, or more. And he's also that pass catcher as well. They just have way too many threats. This is their second game in a row scoring 30, and Aaron Donald was on that Rams team rushing him. So I'm not worried about the 49ers. I think the 49ers are still that number one spot, probably in my eyes, that number one favorite to win this year. And then we look at the Rams. Wow, the Rams made some history today. Wow, Puka Nacua. This guy is a rookie coming out. Has 15 receptions in the first game and then 20 receptions in the second game. Nuts. Yep. Sammy, he literally got the NFL record of the most catches in his first 2 rookie games of the year. He has the record for it now. And wow, he cannot miss. He was targeted. I want to see this. I need to see this. How many times he was targeted?
Yeah, what's the stat line?
I'll find out right now. In this 49ers game, he was targeted 20 times. He had 15 receptions, targeted 20 times for 147 yards. That's 9.8 yards averaged. Yeah, for a total of 25 points PPR in fantasy. Wow. 2 games, 25 receptions, 266 yards, an average of 10.6 yards a catch. Unbelievable. Has Cooper Kupp touches. Literally. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about the Rams. The Rams did go off and pretty much get rid of Akers. I don't know if Akers got injured, but he now looks like the number 2 running back, or he might get traded. New running back for the Rams.
Isn't it Akers and another person right now? Who's the other running back?
I got it right now. Oh my god. Just pulling this up real quick, guys. Kyren Williams.
Okay.
Kyren Williams, this last game for them, 52 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown, and 14 attempts. 14 touches, 52 yards on the ground, 1 TD, and about 28 points PPR. The reason why he looks like he's so good is because he can also pass catch. Cam Akers looks like he's only on the ground. And it looks like Sammy just ran out of signal there. So it's just going to be me probably for the rest of the stream, guys. Unless he decides to call back. He's probably on the road, still on vacation. But yeah, in PPR, it looks like Kyren Williams is that guy that's going to be taken over for their squad in the running back for Akers. He's going to be number 1, and Akers will probably be number 2 or get traded. So look forward to him either getting traded or for Williams to be that guy, and then Akers being that number 2 guy, getting those great yards. Next game. All right, the next game was a crazy comeback game. We have the Giants and the Cardinals. I'm not too high on this game, and I don't want to talk about this game too much. The reason being is because the Cardinals are tanking this year. They really are. They're tanking. The Giants were essentially getting beat 60-0 by halftime. The Cardinals had those plays, had honestly phenomenal play for them Cardinals the entire game. Round of applause for them. But at the end of the day, the coach is telling them, hey, don't win this game on halftime. Halftime, they went to the locker room and the coach said, great job. You made it seem like we're trying to win this game. I want you guys to go ahead and just let them catch everything. Pretty much. The Giants come back essentially 21-0. I'm having a hard time remembering. I believe it was 21-0 for halftime. Somebody correct me on if I'm wrong, but I believe it's 21-0. If it wasn't, if it was lower, that's fine. 14, around there. The problem with the Giants, inconsistent. They're struggling protecting the football, struggling against great defenses. I don't think that starts with a coach. I think they have a great coach. I think that is just the players. Saquon had 2 fumbles pretty much that went on the quarterback. I don't think it was Daniel Jones' fault. He hit him both times. In game 1, he hit him. and Saquon just boop right out of his hands, interception. Game 2, same exact thing. Boop, hits his hands, out of his hands, interception. That's 2 games in a row. Now he's out. He scores 2 touchdowns this game in the second half, and then he's out with an injury. Ankle, I believe. We'll have to wait and see what this team looks like after that ankle injury, but it looks like they're going to be struggling in the future to see that, they're essentially down 60-0 in halftime. And this is a Cardinals team that they barely beat, a team that is rebuilding, that's trying to get that number 1 pick. It's got to be really sucky to be in New York right now. Any New York fans, Giants, Jets, it is what it is. It happens to every team at least one time. But the Giants made playoffs last year, made a lot of people happy, made people think that this year was going to be different. This year we're going to be top 2 in our division conference. Well, doesn't look like they're going to beat the Eagles. It doesn't look like they're going to beat the Cowboys. So they're stuck in that 3rd spot for me. For the Cardinals, like I said, they're just rebuilding. Nothing really much to talk about. Connor will probably end up getting traded from there soon to try to get some more draft pieces. I think that's their play. Their play is to trade Connor, see what else they can make on their squad to get more draft capital. But I think that's their play, is to try to just get more draft capital for this next year in the upcoming draft. All right, we got the Jets and the Cowboys. What do you want me to say? Top 3 defense, both sides of the field. Top 3 with the Jets, top 3 with the Cowboys. Cowboys look like they scored more off of defense than they did offense. If it wasn't for the field goals, it looks like this would have been a closer game. Dak just can't get it together and score a touchdown. If Dallas gets touchdowns in this game, we're looking at it like a 50 bomb, 60 bomb kind of game. If their offensive look great against this Jets defense, I'd be in all praise about the Cowboys, probably putting them in the number 1 spot over the 49ers. But for them not scoring, mostly getting field goals, and their defense doing most of the work for them, I see that team being top 3 as of right now. For the Jets, sad to see Aaron Rodgers go. Zach Wilson throws 2 interceptions this game. The problem is just going to be, why can't they run the ball? Like, they have Breece Hall, they have Dalvin Cook. Why can't they just ground and pound it? Make defenses tired, like wear them out. Give Zach Wilson time to shine. Give him time like the first game. Like, run the ball, get it done. Run the clock a little bit. That's fine. It doesn't matter. Just make the other team tired. Give him time to get the ball out and make a play. Breece Hall just didn't get a chance. Didn't get a chance to show anybody what he can actually do. All right. We got the Commanders and the Broncos next. I really don't want to talk about this game. 35-33, the Commanders win. I really don't want to talk about this game. The Commanders are 2-0 somehow. The Broncos are 0-2. Their same sloppy start that they had last year, and it doesn't look like it's getting any better with Sean Payton. It really doesn't. They're actually being able to score the ball, but they can't stop being scored on. So their defense needs some work. Offensively for the Commanders, their running game is solid. Finally, we got to see what he can do in week 2. Sam Howell, though, he's not the greatest quarterback, but he's kind of like Brock Purdy, where he only needs to do a certain amount of things in the game to win the game, and he looks like he can be that guy for Ron Rivera and the Commanders. That's all I have to say about that game. Next game, Dolphins and Patriots. The Patriots are 0-2. I don't believe they had a 0-2 start since the 90s, since before Tom Brady got there. Wow. You know, another division game. Dolphins and Patriots, 24 end score, and then Patriots scored 17. The Dolphins actually had a lower scoring game than what we've seen with Tua and the Dolphins when healthy. When healthy, we're seeing Tua and the Dolphins score 30 points, like averaged, which is nuts. They have that great offensive team, kind of like the Lions. Mostert got some touches this last week, did some good running game. Got some good yards, some good first downs. The Patriots, Stevenson continues to struggle a little bit. Hasn't really gotten the volume that we think or has hoped to get. Really struggled getting that offense going. But once they got it going, they started scoring some points. But I mean, kudos to Miami. Their defense really has gotten better from last year. Last year, it looked like their defense just constantly getting scored on. Injuries, a lot of that had to do with injuries. But the Patriots have looking like they gotten better offensively, but yet hasn't really shown what they could do. I don't think it starts with the coaching, but I do believe they need to work on their running game a bit more. Get some running game involved so that it frees up Mac Jones to make the right decision, the right play. Also, crazy ending, by the way. How did that lineman get the ball and almost get that first down? But two upsetting game losses from the Patriots. It almost seems like it's scripted for them to lose in the heartfelt fashion they lost in the last two games. One guy in week one not catching the ball inbounds, giving them a chance to come back and win, getting a touchdown or a field goal. Then in week two, a fumble recovered by the lineman not a fumble. It was a vertical, a lateral pass. Yeah, it was a lateral pass. The lineman jumps up, grabs it. It looks like it's a first down when we see it. Then they do the replay, and it looks like his arms, his elbows, and his knees were actually down before the first down. So two upsetting games for the Patriots where they really could have come back. But honestly, you can't have these games where you're hoping to have a game like that. You want to be able to make a play prior to those things happening. All right, next game's up. Monday night games, we have a doubleheader. The Saints and the Panthers. Like I said, 3 teams in the NFC South right now, 2-0. The Panthers 0-2, brand new quarterback. We get it. Rookie quarterback. We're not expecting much out of him. They're looking like a 4th seed anyways in our division. Falcons looking solid. Saints, on the other hand, they don't have Alvin Kamara. They don't have him. So really what they're only doing right now is passing these short throws, and then Shaheed coming up with nice grabs deep downfield. Same with Chris Olave. But if that's all they're planning to do is throw the ball and not get the running game involved, they're looking like a 3rd seed in this group of the NFC South. They look like the Falcons can beat them next week. I believe it is the Falcons and the Saints next week. Correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, but it looks like the Falcons can probably win this game. All you gotta have to do, all you have to do is tire out the defense, run the ball, and that's exactly what the Falcons do. The Saints, on the other hand, have no running game before Alvin Kamara gets there, of course, which he's suspended for at least another game. But once they do get him back, I believe that team should have the chemistry moving forward, and they should be a playoff team for sure. Over the Falcons. Not over the BUCS, sorry. For the Panthers, they still need some rebuilding help. Their defense is solid, but their offense is struggling big time. Besides this last week, the Panthers defense, and for last year as well, we all had like crazy hopes that the Panthers defense was at least top 10. But after the 2 games that we have witnessed, I'm not sure if they're dealing with any injuries on their defensive side, but it looks like they really need some help defensively as well. Last year they looked very solid, forced a lot of turnovers, but this year they can't really get nothing together. And without that happening, I don't see the Panthers getting anywhere this year because Bryce Young still needs those reps under his belt. He needs to have at least a year or two under a good coach, under some great receivers, or at least par receivers, decent, where they can make a catch, where he can really thrive. And I don't know if that's the Panthers organization. We'll have to wait and see what happens throughout the season. But for right now, it looks like the Panthers really need to work on their defense and work on their offense as well. They're just a struggle bus right now. For the Saints, when they get their running back, they're looking like a almost top in the division kind of team. All right, now we got the Browns and the Steelers. The next game that started at 8:30 last night, 8:15, 8:20-ish, around there. We have the Steelers getting a takeaway and a touchdown that pretty much wins the game for them. 26-22 is the total. Deshaun Watson looked angry this game. He not only got one flag called on him, he got 2 flags called on him because he grabbed the face mask of the other player and dragged them to the ground. One was out of bounds, and the other one was when he was about to catch a stack. Threw him to the ground, made me believe that he juked him, or pretty much just juked him. But then they did a replay, and he legit just like finger in the eye, grabbed his face mask and threw him to the ground. That's not the first one. That's not the second one. 2 times. Two times in a game, Deshaun Watson did that. Amari Cooper finally got his reps, though. Amari Cooper fans and Browns fans should be happy that Amari Cooper is getting those reps and getting some touches from Deshaun Watson, because we were hoping coming into the league and into this year that Amari Cooper was going to go off and be that number 1 guy for Deshaun Watson, and they were going to have this crazy connection like we saw him on the Texans. We saw Deshaun Watson throw these deep, long balls, and they were caught for touchdowns. You know, like this crazy guy that came into the league at quarterback that no one had faith in, and then everyone wanted him. Like this crazy fantasy output guy. He joins the Browns, and last year we didn't really get to see much besides like the last 3 games. But this year, the first 2 games, first game was a lot of running involved with Nick Chubb. Second game, as soon as Nick Chubb goes out, Harrison Ford takes over, and I think that's his name. I'm not sure. Something Ford. He took over, and he looked like he ran the show right after. So he looks like a top option for the Browns moving forward. I know it sucks to lose Nick Chubb. He was that guy for you guys, but it looks like it's going to be Ford moving forward, and probably for the rest. Of the future. I don't think Nick Chubb comes back after this injury. He re-injures his knee, the same one that he re-injured in in college, that no one thought he was going to play again after he injured that. And then he actually went through it and got drafted. Well, really not drafted, picked up by the Browns. And it's been that threat for the Browns. And this is the reason why everyone has him in fantasy. Everyone drafted him so high, and then he has that injury. It's very upsetting. A lot of people like Nick Chubb, including myself. And for him to be out in the second game of this year, it's very upsetting. For the Steelers, their defense looks solid. For the second week in a row, Deshaun Watson looks like he's under pressure constantly. And the Steelers really gave it to him tonight. Came back. Wow, what a crazy way to win the game. A fumble into a touchdown for the Steelers defense that wins the game for them. Wow. If it wasn't for that defense, what I'd be talking about right now is how trash Kenny Pickett looked in the last two games. He looks like he cannot get it together. Like, he looks like he's really struggling to like make something happen. Every single time I watched that game last night, it seemed like it was third down and he was about to score. Third down, he was about to get a first down and he couldn't get it done. What's up, Sammy?
Hey, sorry about that. Dropped signal. That's this place, man. Utah. That's just how it is. It's like no signal out here.
Yeah. Well, I'm finishing up here. I'm almost done. I kind of just want to talk about the running backs now. A lot of running backs went down this year. Aaron Jones went down. Nick Chubb went down. Saquon Barkley went down. I'm gonna grab a list right here of an injury report.
Justin, who do you think out of all the new running backs that are going to fill in for these top shot running backs, who do you think is going to do the best?
Out of all of them?
Out of all three teams that lost their
well, when we're talking about running backs, Sammy, you got to remember what team uses their running back the most. Who gets the most touches out of all of the running backs? In my eyes, I'm looking at Cleveland. I'm looking at Cleveland. They use Nick Chubb literally every other play for years. For like years. I don't think that stops now that Nick Chubb gets injured. I think we saw what we needed to see yesterday. We saw Nick Chubb go out and then Ford take over, and he exploded. It like legit exploded. Just it was crazy because they're versing the Steelers, and the Steelers have a really good defense. I would say borderline top 5, top 6. So, for them to get Ford going and Ford getting all those yards that he got, let me check this out. All right, his name is Jerome Ford. All right, so Nick Chubb Nick Chubb got 10 carries for 64 yards. He averaged about 6.4 yards a carry. Sammy disconnected again. He got his longest carry was 20 yards yesterday. And then we have Jerome Ford, who took over right after Nick Chubb got injured. He has 3 receptions, 25 yards on the ground. He averaged about 8.3 yards a carry, and he got 1 touchdown. And his longest run was 14 yards with 4 targets as a pass catcher. He is looking like that guy that's going to take over in that slot that Nick Chubb was in. The only difference here is that he actually caught some passes. Nick Chubb was really just that guy that just ran the ball, round and pound kind of guy. But now with the addition of Jerome Ford, it looks like those screenplays might be even better. It might be even more dangerous for them. I'm looking forward to Jerome Ford being that number 1 guy for them. I don't see them picking up Kareem Hunt. There is a chance that they do pick up Kareem Hunt, but I think Jerome Ford is going to be that guy moving forward for them. And he has probably the highest out of all 3. The only other person that I think might have more of a ceiling than Jerome Ford is probably Kyron Williams. As soon as we saw this, as soon as Akers came out, Kyron Williams came in and there was nothing besides positive for this guy. They look like he's now the number 1 he's now the number 1 running back on their squad by a mile. It looks like Akers is no longer playing anymore. He barely got any touches at all. First week, and then the second week, I'm not sure if he got injured or what, but Kyron Williams, 4 total touchdowns in 2 games. It's hard to say. Ford is going to be taking on more of a bigger role than Kyron, but Kyron is going to get more touches in the red zone area, with Puka getting most of the targets. So this is tough. There's more upside with probably Kyron. So I would probably go Kyron Williams, Jerome Ford, and then everyone else. Who is taking over for Saquon? That's what I want to know. We could talk some fantasy real quick. Matt Breida. I don't think Breida does anything. I think if anything, the Giants will throw it more to Waller now that Saquon's out. They both got about the same amount of targets, but Waller is really like one of the best tight ends in the league. If they don't use him to get the first downs and they start using Breida, then I see him being more of a fantasy value for some of your squads, just to be rostered, but honestly not started, not even in the flex spot. Ford and Kyron, absolutely. Like those guys, start them or have them in your flex spot if you have them. Another debate that a lot of people are having, a lot of people are saying Craig Reynolds or Jesus, I can't even remember his name. Hang on. Jahmyr Gibbs. Craig Reynolds, Jahmyr Gibbs. Gibbs has the most upside, but it looks like Reynolds is actually getting more usage than Gibbs. I don't know if something went down in practice or not, but they actually drafted Gibbs and they drafted him as their first pick, I believe. Um, they traded Swift, got Gibbs, and right now we haven't seen that go to fantasy, like translate to fantasy. A lot of people have him being that guy that you should trade for now. Now that Montgomery's out, I don't believe so. We haven't really seen it. And if we see Reynolds split the backfield with Gibbs, it could be a mysterious play. It can either be Gibbs getting most of the touches and getting crazy yards, or it could be Reynolds getting crazy yards and then Gibbs sitting most of the plays. So that one's kind of a risk. But Ford, Kyler, go get those guys if they're in on waivers. Go get them. If you need a running back because of all the running back injuries, go trade for them right now. Those guys have high upside potential, and I don't see them coming down anytime soon, especially because Akers is probably not getting any more touches probably for the rest of the year. Minimum, if that, when he comes back. Nick Chubb out for the rest of the year. Ford is going to be that guy. Even if they do get Kareem Hunt is a free agent for a reason. Nobody wants to pay that guy or pick him up because he was a threat a couple years back, but he hasn't been a threat since. And he's a little bit older now as well, so that's more of a downside. The Browns have already came out and said that Ford's going to be the number one guy now that Nick Chubb's out. So really, it's just Kai and Ford, the two guys that you should go pick up at running back if you need a running back right now. That's it. That's all I got for fantasy. How about Fields? When we look at Fields is rated, let's look, number 9th in fantasy this week coming up. He's projected 18.5. Mahomes obviously is number 1 ranked for start this week at quarterback, 25.5 points. Nuts. But that's because they're versing Chicago. Justin Fields is not running the ball enough to get fantasy upside. He has only been throwing the ball, and when he throws the ball in the middle of the field, it's usually intercepted. So there's a lot of question marks with Justin Fields. I got him along with a couple other people that I know that have him, and the reason why they got him is because he could run the ball. That's the big upside for Justin Fields. And these 2 games that we've watched so far, he has 0 yards, just doesn't run the ball. He ran the ball one time in the first game, week 1 that they played, but week 2 he didn't even run the ball, and that's the fantasy value right there is for Justin Fields is to run the ball. I would go ahead and look to trade Justin Fields or maybe give him another week or 2, but going against Kansas City, I don't know if he gets any points at all, to be honest. Who else? Who else should we talk about? CMC looks like the best, fantasy player this entire year. He looks like number one guy. If we were to do like a rankings of fantasy players right now after week 2, CMC is number one, and then everyone else below it. I wouldn't. I don't even think I would go um, Justin Jefferson below him. I'd probably go like a Tyreek Hill below him. Elite quarterbacks right now: Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert's been he's been really solid, but like I said, they can't find a way to win. Jalen Hurts, pretty solid. Josh Allen, after the comeback, week 2, after the crazy week 1, 3 interceptions, 1 fumble. Week 2, came back, put up some good numbers, let a lot of people know that it's not going to happen again. Hopefully. And then Jared Goff. Solid. Kirk Cousins, damn near the number 1 quarterback in the league. When it comes to passing, he's literally elite. He had those 2 interceptions the first game against the BUCS, my team. But other than that, he's been really solid through 4 touchdowns. 4 touchdowns last game. Looks like quarterback 1 in fantasy right now. Russell Wilson, he's kind of a question mark. A lot of people have Joe Burrow right now. I would actually drop or look to trade Joe Burrow and try to get like a Jordan Love, Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson. If you need points right away. If you don't need points right away, just hold on to him. You have like a secondary quarterback. Hold on to him. But Joe Burrow, injured. And then when he's not injured, hasn't really shown much at all. Doesn't really have crazy potential to run. And hasn't really shown that he can throw touchdowns. Besides the T. Higgins, hasn't really shown much. He's rated at a C+ right now. A lot of people on the board right now, you can do better. So either bench him or trade him away, but see if you can get some good pieces for him right now. While you could still probably sell him a little bit higher. Tight end. This is a challenge. Right now, TJ Hawkinson is king of tight end. I don't have him being there forever. Obviously, I think Travis Kelce is going to retake that. George Kittle is another one that's really good as well. Mark Andrews, another one. But I think the top 5, when it goes to like Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, TJ, Darren Waller, George Kittle, I think that's it for tight ends. If you don't have one of those tight ends, I believe you need to make a trade for them right now. We haven't seen much of Goddard yet on the Eagles, and I think the Eagles have way too much. Like their running game, they run way too much. We haven't seen Jalen Hurts throw the ball enough to really give Goddard some value, but they have him at number 6 coming into this week. I don't. I have Goddard probably being even lower than that. But then again, he can be that guy. We've seen it already. He can be a guy that gets actually some good touches, about 10 to 15 on a good day. But that would just be some random day. Other than that, he's getting around 5 to 6 probably targets a game. Kittle's one of those guys that he can be that factor that gets you 2 touchdowns or 0 touchdowns and 2 catches. So Kittle's oddball as well. But top 3, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson. I don't think anybody really argues with that. And then Darren Waller at number 4 or number 5. I'd probably put Waller over Kittle just because of how much action they have in San Francisco. They have a lot of people that they can rely on this season. They don't have to rely on George Kittle getting them those yards or those touchdowns. I think Darren Waller is going to get more touches now that Saquon Barkley's out. And I believe that he should get more touches anyway because I believe he's one of the best tight ends in our league. I don't think that's even up for discussion. I think that's just complete facts. All right, guys, but other than that, that's going to do it. Is there anything else I really want to talk about? I know there's some stuff that I'm probably gonna miss here, and that I'll probably end up talking about when Sammy gets to the stream next week. Moontain Music just traded Mostert, Love, and Najee for Garrett Wilson, Fields, and Gainwell. My thoughts. I don't think I like it, man. Let me tell you why. Mostert's still getting a lot of action running the ball. He's still getting a lot of action. Gainwell wasn't really playing this last week. He was on injury, and DeAndre Swift took the ball over, and you saw what he did. The fact that Swift is getting that much production and getting that many yards, and he got a touchdown. I believe they use Swift more than Gainwell in the future. Honestly, this is just my opinion. Justin Love has been looking solid. If you want to trade Love, I think you trade him possibly for. You still have Aaron Jones. So is Mostert your number 2? You were playing Mostert and Najee, right? Because Aaron Jones was out. So, okay. So if you weren't making this trade, it'd be Mostert, Aaron Jones, correct? Maybe Najee at flex. Okay. So I think Aaron Jones and Mostert is probably solid. I don't think you get rid of Mostert unless you sell high. A lot of people need a running back right now. I think you sell higher than what you have. I don't think Garrett Wilson's going to be the play, and let me tell you why. Is because it's pretty much Zach Wilson, 14-man half PPR. Yeah, I don't think Garrett Wilson's the guy that you should trade for. Justin Fields either. Justin Fields hasn't really shown much. They look like they don't even want to run the ball with Justin Fields. Gainwell, he's a question mark with DeAndre Swift having the game he had last week. So that's a tough trade to make. It can end up being really good, but it can also be extremely bad. Because Mostert and Jordan Love can be really, really good for your team. I don't think Najee Harris is that great, but then again, I think you should trade Najee Harris because of how many running backs have been out so far, and you have a 14-man league. Since Najee Harris is going to have better value now that Nick Chubb is out, Cam Akers is out, Saquon Barkley is out, I think you should sell him high right now, but I don't think you should sell for that. Oh, you already traded. The guy you traded lost both JK and Chubb. Crazy? Yes. That is crazy. Yeah, My man, I have Chase as well, but I feel your pain, man. Don't make anything crazy right now. Don't make any crazy like plays right now, but see if you could take Mostert and Najee, or take Najee and Love for Gainwell and do you have another quarterback? You have Sean Watson. No, I think Jordan Love's still has proven that he's better than Deshaun Watson right now. Take Deshaun Watson and Najee Harris, trade him for Gainwell, and what's the other guy? Does he have another guy on that team that that's even worth trading for? This trade is done. Okay, so you have Garrett Wilson, Fields, and Gainwell. Try to get some fantasy value out of Gainwell. Like, see if you can get a Jahmyr Gibbs. See if you can get a Jerome Ford. Like, if he's available in your league right now off waivers, like on waivers right now, use your waiver wire to pick him up. Then you take Ford and probably Gainwell, I'd say. Or you take Ford and like somebody like a Puka, somebody who's been popping off. Ford is taken. Unfortunate. He has Ramondre Stevenson and once Wilson, Gainwell, and Ferguson. Puka's also gone. That's unfortunate. I got Puka for nothing. I just added him to my squad. They even use waivers. But I am using my waivers on Ford. I'm really high on that guy. I saw what he did. He caught some catches. And what was the targets here? 16 carries, 106 yards, 6.6 average, 69 yards was his longest rush. He also had 3 receptions for 27 yards, 9 yards average on his reception for 14 yards being the longest. 4 targets. $24 for Puka and my 14 man. Yeah. Last week? Yep. I don't know what to tell you, man, about that trade. That trade was the only thing that I would say is Garrett Wilson and Justin Fields. Both of those guys have seen, like Garrett Wilson has seen crazy uptick in value just because of the fact Aaron Rodgers are going to be there. Because Aaron Rodgers is a throw first guy. The problem is that he got injured and now it's Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, he had a couple targets with Garrett Wilson. I just don't think that it's enough. I believe that Garrett Wilson will be a number 2 wide receiver on a team. He won't be that number 1 guy that's getting most of your points. And then Justin Fields, he just doesn't run the ball. We have yet to see it. Until he runs the ball, there's no fantasy value in Justin Fields. If he continues to not run the ball, I have Justin Fields as well. If he continues to not run the ball, I will be the first guy trading him away. And if nobody's willing to make a trade with him, honestly, I might just drop him. Russell Wilson has more fantasy value right now than Justin Fields, which is insane. My guys in my league are solid. No one can fleece anyone. LOL. That sucks, man. The fact that he wants what is it? For Ramondre, he wants Wilson, Gainwell, and Ferguson. See if you can just trade Wilson and Gainwell for Ramondre. That's something to think about. If he declines that trade, I think you stick to what you got. I don't know if Ramondre is really worth more than that, just because he hasn't really shown us much. Yes, he is getting a little bit of production, and he is that number one guy for the Patriots, but I don't even see him having more fantasy value than Jerome Ford right now. Another guy that you should probably trade for right now. Let me find him. Give me a sec. Kyren Williams. Let me tell you right now, in his first 2 games, 4 touchdowns. He is that guy. He had 14 attempts, 52 yards for 1 touchdown. And let's bring up the full stats. He had some pass catches as well. All right, so 14 carries, 52 yards, average about 3.7 yards, 1 touchdown. He had 6 receptions, 48 yards, 8 yards a reception for 1 TD. So 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground and 1 catching. And then Cam Akers, I'm not sure if I don't know if he's injured or if they just roll in with Kyren Williams as their number 1 guy. But it looks like Kyren Williams is getting most of the action there in LA. Yeah, see if you can take who did you trade for? Fields, Gainwell, and Garrett Wilson. See if you could take Garrett Wilson and Fields and trade for Kyren Williams or trade for Ford. If you don't need a wide receiver, if you need a wide receiver, like Garrett Wilson is that number 1 guy for you, don't trade him away. You have to stick with what you got. But if you have a couple wide receivers, go ahead and take Garrett Wilson and Fields, my man, and make something happen. My starting lineup as of now is QB Fields, Watson, Fields or Watson, running back Aaron Jones, running back Gainwell, JT when he returns, wide receiver Chase, wide receiver Wilson, tight end Pitts, Ferguson, flex Watson, Christian Watson. I have Christian Watson as well. If he doesn't show me anything, he looks like a bust. He has some tremendous fantasy value right now because nobody knows what he's going to do, but everyone knows he's that number 1 guy. Maybe see if you can get some good value for Watson right now before he doesn't show anything, because if the next game he doesn't show anything, Christian Watson, his value is completely like to the floor. But he has potential to also get you 25 points. Is this a full PPR league or half? Half. Would you do Watson for Swift right now? I would. I would 100%. We just don't know about Aaron Jones. That's the problem. We don't know about Aaron Jones, and we don't know about Gainwell. Swift is it. He looks like the number one guy for the Eagles, but then again, they were super high on Gainwell, giving him all those touches in week one. So there's a big question mark on that. But I don't think I don't know if they make that trade. We have, like I said, it's a bunch of question marks with Christian Watson, and we saw what Swift did last week. So there's a lot of potential for Swift. There's not much potential for Watson until he shows us game one, game two, what he's gonna do. Yeah, so the thing is, there's so many question marks in fantasy right now. Right now, it's kind of like a coin flip. I'm trying to make some trades happen too, but a lot of people are being stingy with the running backs. I had Puka, so I got lucky on that. We'll see if I get Jerome on waivers. I think I'm number 3 on my waivers. So we'll see. If I end up getting Jerome, that'd be sick. I don't need to make any trades. But if I don't get Jerome, the first person I'm trading is Christian Watson. I'm gonna trade him. I'm gonna trade Fields. I'm gonna trade him and Fields to try to get either what's his name? Kyron Williams or Jerome Ford. Those guys moving forward are the number one guys on their team, and they're going to getting a ton of touches. The Eagles running back, Swift and Gainwell, they're going to be splitting no matter what. So one week, Gainwell might get a touchdown, maybe 2 touchdowns. Then there's another week where DeAndre Swift's going to get 2 touchdowns. So they're going to be splitting the backfield a lot more. So I think the fantasy value with Kyron Williams and Jerome Ford is going to be infinitely higher than both of those guys. Is Puka for Kyron straight up worth it? No. Because we still have Cooper Kupp coming week 5. So Cooper Kupp comes week 5, and then it's split between those two guys. He's still going to be solid. I believe he's still a wide receiver 2, maybe even a flex play after Cooper Kupp gets there. Cooper Kupp is probably not going to be looking like how he was the past 2 years. He's going to be looking I'm not going to come out and say that he's going to come out looking like poop, but there's a possibility that this injury has long-term effects on him, and he doesn't look like the same Cooper Kupp he was. And there's a possibility that Puka is that number 1 guy on the team. But as of right now, I'm gonna have faith that Cooper Kupp comes back and he's the number 1 guy on the team, and then Puka's number 2. He's going to be the number 1 guy on the Rams. Unless he gets injured, unless he goes down, Kyron has way more potential to get you points than probably any other running back in the league right now. He is looking like he's getting pass catches. He's getting run like on the ground yards. He's getting touchdowns. He has like the most fantasy value right now. If you picked him up, it's amazing. But if you didn't, it kind of makes you feel like, damn. Cam Akers gets traded? Yes. If it doesn't happen this season, it'll happen next season for sure, like in the off season. I think they found their guy with Kyron Williams. Do you have any other questions, my man? I'm gonna be getting off here in a few. I think when the dust settles, like week 7, we'll know. Yeah. That's usually when you know about like all of these guys. If if they haven't shown their value until week 7, that sucks. But like, if they're consistent throughout from week 1 all the way up until week 7, I think those are the guys you should probably keep, and then everyone else just fucking like get rid of. See if you can get another guy or two. Take one guy, trade for two. Take two guys, trade for one. Kind of plays. Like, I think Joe Burrow is the guy right now that has a lot of question marks. And I think that entire offense has a lot of question marks. Anybody who's got Mixon right now is sitting there slamming their head on their keyboard or slamming their head against their phone right now, looking at how much how much like fantasy points. Thanks for the feedback, bro. God bless. No problem, man. Take it easy. Have a good one. All right. All right, guys. It's been an hour and 45 minutes for the Santos show. My brother is on vacation in Utah, I believe, and he comes back next week. So we should have the 2-man stream coming back next week. This is my first time on YouTube. We swapped it over to YouTube from Twitch. This is our first time being live on YouTube, this platform. And so far, it's been pretty great. We still have a couple kinks we need to work out, but other than that, it's been solid. It's been fun talking to you guys and giving my opinions about each game, NFL, upsets, uh, injury reports, fantasy value. Um, Pretty much giving you my take on every single game as what transpired. It's been pretty fun. I look forward to doing next week, week 3. Should be pretty fun. We'll be at it on Tuesday, probably around Tuesday, 6 o'clock p.m. Stay tuned for the Santos show. Me and Sammy will be live. It's been your boy Justin. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.